Hi, I am Moonchildlexi and I am here with you to be a guide on your own spiritual awakening process. Today is day 43 of a collective journey of transformation through the usage of short stories. And I am using Osho's Transformation Tarot as that medium of where we are pulling our short stories from. Before we begin, I'd like to call forth my higher self, my inner luminous one, God, creator, creatrix, all supportive energies of love and above to encircle this space, this channel, this frequency, this moment in vibrations of unconditional love and violet fire. This violet fire blazes and transmute all flesh desire. So all that is left is truth, clarity, peace, and ease. And so it is. The number and message for today is ultimate accident, a number 5. Here's the image. It's so far away. One moment. The scene has been set. I find it interesting how the card from the day before carries a very eerily similar background, right? It's still late night, full moons ablazing and glorious, right? But here in this setting was this scene, and in the same setting, we have another scene unfolding. So be sure, if you didn't already, check the message before this one, or whenever you come across it. It was a perfect accident. What do we see here? 5. The energy of 5. Right now, it's like a stop. Stop. 5 fingers stop. 5 carries this energy of dynamic change. Things are, I like when I've heard the reference of like a 5 looking like it's on a rocker with the way that the swoop is. It can go either way. Ultimate accident. It is not a certain sequence of causes that brings enlightenment. Your search, your intense longing, your readiness to do anything altogether, perhaps they create a certain aroma around you in which that great accident becomes possible. The nun, Chiyono, studied for years, but was unable to find enlightenment. One night she was carrying an old pail filled with water. As she was walking along, she was searching and watching the full moon reflected in the pail of water. Suddenly, the bamboo strips that held the pail together rushed out, and the moon's reflection disappeared suddenly, and Chinyono became enlightened. She wrote this verse. This way and that way, I tried to keep the pail together, hoping the weak bamboo would never break, and suddenly the bottom fell out. No more water, no more moon in the water, emptiness in my hands. Chiyono and her bucket of water. Enlightenment is always an accident because it is unpredictable, because you cannot manage it. You cannot cause it to happen. But don't misunderstand me, because when I say enlightenment is just like an accident, I'm not saying that you don't have to do anything to attain it. The accident happens only to those who have been doing much for it, but it never happens because of their doing much for it. The doing is just a cause, which creates a situation in them so that they become accident prone, is all. This is the meaning of this beautiful happening. I must tell you something about Chiyono. She was a very beautiful woman. She was young. Even the emperor and the princes were after her. She refused because she wanted to be a lover only to the divine. She went from monastery to another to become a nun, but even great masters refused. There were so many monks, and she was so beautiful that they would forget God and everything. So everywhere the door was closed. So what did Chiyono do? Finding no other way, she burned her face, scarred her whole face, and then she went to a master who couldn't even recognize if she was a woman or a man. Then she was accepted as a nun. She studied, meditated for 30, 40 years continuously. Then suddenly, one night, she was looking at the moon reflected in the pail. Suddenly, the pail fell down. The water rushed out and that moon disappeared. And that became the trigger point. There is always a trigger point from where the old disappears and the new starts. From where you are reborn. That became the trigger point. Suddenly, the water rushed out and there was no moon. So she must have looked up and the real moon was there. Suddenly, she became awakened to this fact. Everything was an illusion. Everything was just a reflection because it has been seen through the mind. As that pail broke, the mind also inside of it broke. It was ready. All that could have been done had been done. All that could be possible, she had done it. Nothing was left. And she was ready. She had earned it. This ordinary incident of fetching a pail of water and trying to take it back to the monastery and its breaking was her trigger point. Suddenly, the bottom fell out. That was an accident. No more water, no more moon in the water, emptiness in my hand. And this is enlightenment. When emptiness is in your hand, when everything is empty, then there is nobody, not even you. And you have attained the original face of Zen. Let me give you a scenario, just more meat, right? Listen to even what she experienced. All over the world, we have many different behaviors, habits, rituals that as people and cultures have adopted because doing these out of tradition, out of a steady rhythm, right? Consistency allows for the aroma, the atmosphere for the happening. So every day you show up at your mat, every day you sit down and you meditate and you open up and you do it again. And you come and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. And then suddenly, because you have built in this grooved pathway of your repetition. Some days it might feel like a chore. Oh my gosh, every day I come here and I light the candle. Every day I come here and I walk the dogs. Every day I come here and, like, if you're me, I go and hit a stop at my favorite coffee shop to fuel up, and it's a routine. It's a routine. But there are some days, now that I've built this space of a routine, right? This routine. It's like all the air around is flammable. And once that match lights, here we go. And I'm there. It's kind of like the energy of the happy accident. Let me also share this now because it's current energy and I struggle with it too still, right? That 5, like, I'm gonna call it a crisis, right? Her crisis was her pail broke. I'm trying to fetch water to bring back home, and my pail broke. And in her normal moments of routine, something disrupted, like a where it even woke her out of her own repetitive cycle, right? I've made a good habit. I've made a good habit of meditating and being in community and being rooted in values, and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and now I'm doing it. And when is it going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? Well, everything's ready for it to happen. Let go. Then now that becomes the rigidity. I am no longer doing sometimes the act for the sake of reverence, but because you're expecting something out of it. And the moment you can let go of that expectation that, okay, when I sit here, I'm supposed to have a huge awakening, I'm supposed to just activate and turn on. The moment you let that go, you soften, you soften, you soften, because the atmosphere is ready. You soften now into your happening. Gonna wrap this up, but know that if you're with this message now, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid, because you are in an aroma where what may seem like a trigger, may seem like a gift, is there to just offer you what's just been waiting around you to finally enter to you. And if you enjoyed this message, please be sure to like, comment with us moments where you've had unexpected revelatory moments and what was happening when it came through. Was it your usual routine? What occurred? Give us more examples to understand that it's okay and there's no need to be afraid to hold so tightly. As a matter of fact, your holding tightly is likely what is preventing your happy accident. And be sure to subscribe so you're notified for the next message. And until next time, thank you.